hello, my little fluffers. It's Adam here. Once again. Back again like a renegade bastard. Sorry, I don't know why I got all sweary for a second. One of those things. So, we're going to start the show for the first episode of the book club, and we are starting it in the conversation. Unfortunately, there is there's been no start recorded for this, so the introduction, the beginnings of the show kind of haven't recorded for whatever reason. The conversation has just kind of kicked in. It's not that far in, maybe 5 to 6 minutes or so, less than 10 anyway. So my apologies for that, but we're going to put it out now, and this is the first episode of the Fluffenhammer Book Club, where we look at Horus Rising. By we, I mean George and David. I'm kind of also there, but George and David make very good points and have very good conversations, so I'm very, very unnecessary. Enjoy, my dear friends. Enjoy.
It's kind of weird to think how things have gone since then.
It's amazing. I was thinking about it when I was because I haven't reread the Horus Rising or the first 4 or 5 books from this series for a very long time. But there is the pre-Horus Rising Warhammer 40,000 and the post, isn't there?
Absolutely. And
it changed so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to we forget how Black Library itself was still forming a bit.
Yeah.
So it was what, 2006? I think.
Yes.
2007?
So it had a big hit with Storm of Iron in 2003.
Yeah,
and
because Storm of Iron,
that was huge. Storm of Iron was so massive. I mean, after Storm of Iron, and also because like the Iron Warriors were just bloody amazing in the 3.5 Codex.
I mean, you'd also had Dan with, as well as Ghost, you'd also had the Eisenhorn and Ravenous stuff, which really, it's such
epoch making, right? It was the first time people really started to pay attention to like the fiction, to like the books. And I think it was the first time Games Workshop really realized, oh, there's legs here. We could do something really serious here with this stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like they weren't publishing steadily up to this point. They were cranking them out. They were doing solid numbers, because I mean, like I said, I was working in a bookshop. We had in our genre section, which was kind of my baby, because well, it's me. They couldn't prise it out of my cold dead hands.
Yeah, right.
But we started. We had to put all the franchise stuff at the end before the graphic novels,
right?
And it got to the point where over the years that I was there, because I was there for about 5 years until the store closed, and I remember there was a very specific. You could see it visually how the Star Wars and the Star Trek books, they were still there, but they did begin to reduce in number. But the D&D stuff, which cycled in, we had a lot of American books coming in because it was Borders, so we were an American chain originally.
Of course.
So we had drops of American stuff, which was great, and good on the shelf and stuff. But over time, it went from, there's some GW stuff, excellent, I'll put that in the genre section in the end, and then we'd get. I mean, by the end, we were getting proper promotional shelf material to put, shelf. God, I've forgotten the word. Foldies to put on the shelves, marking it as the Black Library section.
That is the Black Library section, yeah. I mean, it's still the same now. That's what's so interesting. If you go into any like mainstream bookstore now, you will find a Black Library section. And it's well stocked. It's always well stocked. It's always the Horus Heresy stuff. You're always going to find the Night Lords trilogy. You're always going to find the Caiaphas Cain books, and a number of others. But that just wasn't the case for Horus Rising. Rising kind of put it on the map. The Horus Heresy series, I think it was bigger than even they expected.
Well, I mean, it was it was literally New York Times best-selling, which
Right. Who would have thought that? I mean, as
that's
much
actually
as
really hard to do.
I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love this stuff, but it is, I've always regarded it as like it's sort of like, it's pulp sci-fi, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
fun. It's
absolutely.
like it's the chocolate bar book, you know? You read it in between reading the big serious stuff to give yourself a break, yeah?
Absolutely.
But actually, they've done it just did way more, I think, than anyone ever expected.
Yeah.
And a lot of that just has to do with what it did to not just within universe, but the stuff that it's playing with, the stuff that it rakes up from like
Hell yeah.
the ideological roots of Warhammer 40,000, if you like, because
What was it? The original story was the Bill King short story was what, 2 pages?
yeah, if that. I mean,
That
yeah, it was
and
nothing. I mean,
before that, it was a couple of lines in a rule book.
yeah, that's it. And of course,
Almost nothing.
almost nothing. And like people just forget these days because the Primarchs are around now. They're actually in the game now. They weren't
Yeah.
characters before Horus Rising. They were just
Mm.
big, broad archetypes, some of which
I mean,
had no descriptions at all. Like
before
hardly anything.
Horus Rising, the only Primarchs really anyone could tell you about were the 4 loyalist ones that were in the codexes.
Yeah. That's
There'd
about
been
it.
no, actually, I tell you, we had the Index Astartes articles in the years
Yes.
prior to the heresy, and they had done a lot of work to give people a bit more flavour.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and not put a face to the name, but give the name a bit more context. And I mean, one thing that I don't know if you noticed it, but the heresy's actually quite in the early days. They don't throw the Primarchs at you. They're quite sparing.
Yeah. Yeah, they try very hard to keep them. It's a difficult thing to do. I mean, it's one of the things that's really interesting about the whole project, really. You're taking very broad archetypes and you're trying to make them complex. You're trying to
Yeah.
make them into characters with, you know, complexities and ambiguities, and it's very, very hard to do. And sometimes
It is.
they do it right, and sometimes it's not quite as good, you know.
Yeah.
But when it hits hard. When it works, it
Absolutely.
really works. It's very
Mm.
surprising at times. I mean, I remember when I first read Horus Rising. I mean, I'm of the ilk that when I'm interested in a book, I just read it. I will
Mm.
read it to the
Oh,
end in one sitting.
I'm the same. Yeah.
And I did that with this. I remember reading it in one go. And I was just so fascinated by the way it presented Horus of
Yeah.
all the other characters, because of course before this Horus hadn't really been a character. Let's be honest, he was just
No.
like this name. He was like this.
Yeah.
He was like Satan, wasn't he? He was like the name of the big
Yeah.
arch
He
bad in
was
the setting.
he was the ultimate right hand who had fallen as far as you could go.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
And
But it
Horus
was,
Rising just
oh wow. I mean,
is
like,
it. You know what? Every time I read Horus Rising, I get I keep hoping for things not to turn out because
yeah, I know,
I
I
don't
know.
want it. It sells you on why Horus
Yeah.
was so arrogant. It sells you on why
Well,
the
I mean,
Sons of Horus.
I was really surprised this time reading it through to realize that there were even like you can remove chaos from the entire setting and there would still have been something,
Oh
because
yeah,
the discontent and the fractures are beginning before there's even a whisper of chaos in
absolutely.
anything.
It's fascinating because the legions are in a much more interesting place, I think, from chapters we know, because the legions of Astartes understand better what they were.
They're much more
And
human, aren't they? That's the
yes, they're
thing.
much more human, but they also understand their place or lack thereof in what's to
Mhm.
come.
Yeah, yeah.
And it there's something that I I do quite like, that's very consistent across the heresy books. Anything that deals with the Emperor
Mhm.
is the fact that for an immortal, he has no patience.
No patience,
Ev-
and
ev-
it doesn't.
Everything could be solved by him just taking a bit more time.
Just a moment. Yeah,
Mm,
just a moment. I mean, one of the really interesting questions, which I don't think is ever really answered in this series,
mm,
and I don't think you can because it would undermine the whole setting if you did.
mm.
It never explains why he never sat down with characters like Horus or Magnus and said to them, look, there's this thing called chaos, okay? And it's, there are gods, well, things analogous to gods, okay? But they're not really gods. They're basically metaphysical parasites, but they're really big and powerful and intelligent, and they are manipulating all of reality and everyone in it. And what I'm really trying to do is stop them. If you'd have just done that, if you'd have said that to Lorgar, if you'd have said that, to Lorgar and framed it in such a way that, and you are going to help me. You are going to change all of humanity. You're going to change the face of reality with me. We are going to create our own metaphysics, Things would have been different. And that's all he would have had to have done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been having a bit of a think of this, and I think one of the things that the character of Old Pearson does is he kind of highlights something that actually makes the Emperor's actions make a little bit more sense once you understand Old's place in the Emperor's story.
Yeah.
I don't think the Emperor ever got over Pearson betraying him.
No.
But saying, no, this is too far. I will not take this step with you, and I will stand against you in this moment. Everything after that is the Emperor kind of calcifying into I mean, think about it. He spent 40,000 years in the 30,000 years in the background, pretty much, before he started doing things. He waited till Old Night. He didn't come out before that, not that we're aware of, anyway. And
no, he was manipulating from behind the scenes.
Everything was layered. Yeah, I mean, hell, you could say he probably didn't even trust Malkador properly.
No, I mean, I doubt he trusted anyone. He'd been alive for a very long time.
Yeah, and he'd just gotten used to. He couldn't trust anyone. He had to rely on himself, and it makes it very. In a way, it makes him much more human in that regard. But he has
really
that massive weakness, and he doesn't even see it.
No, and that's really wonderful, actually. I mean, from stepping back from the fiction and looking at it from a writer's perspective, it's what we were talking about. It's the problem of taking something that is such a broad archetype and trying to invest it with consistency and with complexity. I mean, what you've got in the Emperor is a creature that works well mythologically. When you look at it in universe, it works well. Or it was rather when you look at it within the rhetoric and the ideology of the Imperium, it kind of works. But when you try to look at it in human terms, just doesn't. Or in any kind of rational terms, it actually just doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is, Abner in particular, I think, Graham McNeill is like this too. He's a very smart writer, just as a very smart guy in general. But Abner is very intelligent, and he understands the ideologies and the histories and the myths that are informing the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So he plays with it. In Horus Rising in particular, I will say it's sad the series kind of loses this element as it goes on. It does kind of falter a little bit. But what he's doing, he's using the setting for what it was originally established for. He's using it as a kind of playground of ideologies. So he's, in particular, his bugbear, and it's so clear, it was really clear to me this time round, he's looking at colonial ideology and psychology. He's looking at, like, literally imperialist mindsets from our own history, and he's using the big, ridiculous science fiction setting to explore that. So you've got the Great Crusade, and when you look at it within the universe, within the book, it's very clear that it is this homogeneous, hermetically sealed system for all of its bullshit about we are enlightened and we are expanding out across the stars to spread our enlightenment. What it actually is a cultish imperialist movement that is actually ideologically no different from any that's gone before. It's actually no different from those that inform our own history, because it is by its very nature informed by them, right?
Yeah,
the
and
arguments,
they make great. I was going to say they make great points of having several cultures show up throughout the heresy who they're either have better arguments making the Imperium, or they look at the Imperium and go, Nah, we're not buying that.
This is it. This is one of the most interesting things, and it's something Abnett does really deliberately. He keeps demonstrating in this book how the Great Crusade is screwed from the beginning, from like its assumptions up. So he uses characters like the Remembrancers, for example. Kirill Sinderman, the Iterator.
Yeah,
He's
Sinterman.
supposed to be. He is supposed to be like the greatest Iterator in the Great Crusade. So he is supposed to be the ideologue. He's the one, like the reservoir of all imperial ideology, of all imperial enlightenment. He's the one who trains the other Iterators, right? And his whole role is to go out there. It's to reinforce imperial dogma and ideology, but also to go on to the worlds that they conquer, the cultures of humanity that they conquer, and bring them round. But here's the thing: his arguments are bullshit.
Oh
He's
yeah, and
supposed to
the
be
thing
like
is, and he knows that as well. That's the thing.
right. He
Sinderman is
knows.
smart enough that he sees it.
Yeah,
And
there are constant moments in this where him and Loken are talking, and he says at one point, "I feel like a puppet. I feel like I'm doing a pantomime here," you know? But when you look at his arguments on the face of it, when you boil them down, they're garbage. They're absolute garbage. And he is supposed to be
yeah,
the greatest of them. He's the one that all the others aspire to be. He's the greatest proponent of imperial ideology. And yet he is defeated again and again and again. Or he gives these bullshit hand-wavy diversionary arguments. The culture that they're desolating at the beginning of the book, when Loken is telling when Loken has this story that he tells because everyone's amused by it. I was there the day Horus slew the Emperor, right? Because they're attacking what is essentially a microcosm of the Imperium. It's a human culture that has established its own Imperium. It has its own Emperor. It has technology that is equivalent to the Imperium itself, and it has sustained by Loken points this out. Is it Loken or is it Mercedes Ulita? It's one of them points out
yeah,
that this culture has sustained for centuries through old night. It must have fended off the depredations of chaos because it wouldn't exist otherwise, right? So it
yep,
must have done that without the emperor, without imperial ideology. It's done it. It must have fended off the depredations of aliens and its own internal strife. And then the Imperium comes along and
Always a bad idea.
utterly
yeah,
desolates it.
yeah,
Utterly desolates it. But the false emperor, the one, the guy who rules it all, he says to Loken when Loken finally smashes into his throne room, couldn't you have just left us alone?
yeah.
And
It,
Loken's got no argument for it. Mercedes
yeah,
Uleton asks him the same thing. She asks him when she's doing his remembrance thing, when she's doing his story, couldn't we have just left them alone? And you know what? He doesn't answer. He kind of dismisses her. He diverts, and all of them do that. Every single one of them, when they're asked the hard questions about what they're doing, they never give you a straight answer. They never give one another a straight answer. And that includes Kirill Sinderman, who is supposed to be such a great iterator, like such a great vessel of imperial ideology that the emperor himself placed him alongside Horus to be his personal remembrancer. He says, like, when Loken, because Loken asks it too. Loken is really cool in this regard. I love Loken as a character because he's one of the few space marines who actually asks the hard questions. He asks, couldn't we have just, because he feels guilt over it. He feels real horrendous guilt over the fact that they had to fight their own, like, that fellow humanity, that they had to destroy this culture. He asks him, couldn't we have just left them alone? And Sinderman comes up with this garbage analogy about how if you saw someone drowning, would you help them or would you just leave them? Well, Kirill, that doesn't stand up because they weren't drowning. By
yeah.
your own analogy, they
It,
weren't drowning. They were doing fine. We've
it's
heard,
Damn
the
it.
yeah.
it's the
That
argument
was going to be my
I've
cold open.
used forever.
Well, fortunately, I am recording this, Ed, so we should be all
Oh,
right.
thank
Yeah, we are recording. Don't worry. We kind of just launched into it, Adam. We just launched
Sorry.
into it. But it is, I mean, it really came across this time. What Abnett is doing, he's gone back to Warhammer 40,000's roots. Warhammer 40,000 was created as this this very ribald 2000 AD style parody, the satire of fascism, of Thatcherite Britain as it was at the time. So it's always been this setting for playing with ideology, for undermining and attacking ideology, in particular the ideology of the Imperium, which has always been a joke. It's always designed to be satire. Much as some of the fans really hate that, it's the truth. That's what it's always been. They worship a corpse. They literally worship a dead creature. It's absurd that anyone takes it seriously. It is absurd that anyone takes it seriously.
You can tell stories with depth and heart and that are serious within it, but the fundamental concept, when you step back and just look at it, it's like, this is absolutely insane.
It's ridiculous, right? And that's the great thing about Abnett. He is such an intelligent writer that he does understand this, and so you get this wonderful sense of, even though it's told from the perspective of multiple characters within the Great Crusade, within the Imperium, totally besotted, like completely gulled by imperial ideology, by the colonial mindset, he is smart enough to present it in such a way that you ask the questions as well. Some of the, like, as I say, he presents you with these symposia where you've got Kirill Sinderman talking to other iterators and remembrancers and even space marines, and it's garbage. He doesn't actually say anything. It's like listening to Trump talk. You know how he says nothing. There's no actual import in what he says. It's just gobbledygook, but it's designed. It has dog whistles. It's designed to excite an emotional reaction, and because it feels correct to those that he's speaking to, they interpret it as though it is correct. And that, that really does demonstrate like how fundamentally the Great Crusade, as it's prescribed, as it's presented, is garbage. It is as cultish, as religious, as dogmatic as any ideology that's gone before. And in that regard, the Emperor, I don't know what he's thinking, or whether you're meant to read it as though he has other intentions, because this is not going to defeat chaos. This is feeding chaos to the nth degree.
Yeah, the Crusade itself, the action of the Crusade, I think it was always the aftermath that he was trying to get to.
But even then, right? Even then, it's gonna fail. It's gonna fail. It's this gigantic movement that is spreading more war, more violence, more oppression, more despair than any other event in human history. Doesn't he get that is just going to feed the powers to the nth? They must be loving this. They must be loving it.
Honestly, I think he's just become he was so damaged over the millennia from the other perpetuals breaking with him. That he just calcified into this one rigid ideology of, this is the way I can see to save a portion of the species.
I think it's also the sunk cost fallacy, isn't it? He's
put so much into it.
He's gone this far, may as well carry on, right? He hasn't, in a weird way, he hasn't really got a choice, I suppose, at this point, because he's already done his literal deal with the devil, right? He's done his Promethean thing. He's stolen power from the Chaos powers. We don't know this at this point, but we will learn that he absolutely has done that, and he's used a portion of that power to create the Primarchs. So he hasn't got a lot of time. He's got to get this done, but he's doing it all wrong.
Crusade is what, 2 centuries it takes place over?
Yeah, it's a period of a couple of centuries,
And when that isn't a long time for someone like him.
And also on like a cosmic level, it's really not a lot of time, is it? It's really not a lot of time.
And it's not even accounting for the time that he spent unifying just the Sol system on its own before the Crusade started. It's
but as I was saying, what I love about this is that Abnett gets it. He so gets it. He is aware of the fact. So you've got this kind of, on the face of it, slightly heightened, kind of ridiculous setting where you've got characters who use very archaic language. I love the use of the old words for humors, where they talk about I'm choleric or I'm phlegmatic or whatever. That's basically Lovecraftian, isn't it? That's like Lovecraft using his eldritch and his squamous and whatever. But it works. It
It
really
does.
works in the context of the setting and in the context of the Space Marines, of course, because
Yeah,
they
I mean,
are elevated beyond humanity. They don't
yeah.
experience emotions in the same way.
But what I love about the Heresy Space Marines is that, well, yes, you do get the ones who are just brutish murderers.
Mm.
Even take away the World Eater's butcher's nails
Oh
for
yeah,
a second. Among all the legions, you do have members who are their weapons. They're happy with being weapons. They
totally
understand that.
content.
They were killers who were made better killers. But then you have the
Mm.
likes of Loken
Yeah,
and Torgadon and
yeah.
Sultavitz and Garrow.
I mean, even
Oh,
characters who will become monsters like
yeah,
Lucius, they're different. They're different
yeah,
because they still retain elements of humanity that, like present day Space Marines in the 41st millennium are just purged of.
yeah. And,
Down to
and
the
because they're not made in the same way. They're much more of a bespoke creation, not to the same
absolutely.
extent as the custodians, but there's still that element of the legions that, yes, you want warriors who are loyal, and the
Mhm.
Primarchs, their blood calls to their sons in a way
Yeah.
that is kind of freaky when you stop and take a moment to think about it.
Actually,
But
it
even,
is. It's part of like the innate fascism of
yeah,
this movement, because
but
like
even then, you do have those like Locken who
mm,
they're able to think. They think things through.
yes,
They're not disagreeing out of disloyalty, but disagreeing because that's what they feel is
that's
right,
what they think, right?
because they look at the
That's
situation and
yeah,
they're asking questions.
yeah.
And again, with the iterators or remembrances as a whole, you don't take artists and intellectuals and historians and the like, and not expect them to, some of them, to start
Yeah,
questioning things to
absolutely.
because if they're
That's their
just,
nature, right? That's their
yeah,
nature. If they are
and
creatives,
if they're just gonna, you know, rubber stamp things, that's not actually what you want for empire building, because that, no one's going to buy it.
no one's going to buy it. Absolutely, yeah.
Not in the long term.
Especially not
They-
this one, right? Because it's advertising itself on the premise of freedom of thought and freedom of expression and enlightenment ideals. But we know from reading this book that that's garbage.
yeah.
We know that's garbage because, like, first of all, there's the Space Marines themselves, and they're presented in this very particular way where whenever human beings come across them, they have this innate submissive response to them.
Mm,
They just submit to them on a like animal level, and the Space Marines know that, and they resent presence of the remembrancers and the iterators, and they treat them like scum. They treat them with largely with contempt.
yeah.
Even Loken does at the beginning.
Mm,
I mean, he's one of the few Space Marines who gets over it. He learns better.
yeah.
Um, but he does at the beginning. And the fact that you have that automatic hierarchy inbuilt where people will just submit under threat, under fear. It kind of demonstrates that no, your enlightenment garbage, all the things you spew, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. There's
Yeah.
freedom within prescribed parameters, and that's it. And we, of course, Abnet once again being very aware of this, he deliberately draws situations where that's totally demonstrated.
Mm,
I keep forgetting his name. The one Carcassy, the one
yes.
remembrancer
Yeah.
who I like the best. He's a shit. He's kind of like a. He's really interesting because he's like a vessel at the beginning. He's a vessel of what I was talking about earlier of colonialist mindset. He
Mm,
looked down on the terms in which he describes the planets and the cultures that they encounter on this crusade is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. He basically regards them as subhuman. I think he's drinking some wine with Mercedes at one point, and he says something like, "It's a wonder that this culture survived through the horrors of old night when it produced wine like this." And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But then you look back at actual rhetoric from colonial people in our own past, in
God,
our own
yeah.
history, and that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing they would say. It's the
Yeah.
kind of mindset. That's the kind of mindset that they had. You know, Abner is drawing on attitudes and writings from the British Empire, definitely from like what would be considered the American Empire in the
Yeah.
in current times. That's the kind of thing they say. But the interesting thing about Carcassy, of course, is that he has that experience. He has that experience where
Mm.
he goes down to the planet that's been conquered, and he sees firsthand what it's actually like, how the people there
Yeah.
are not in celebration at their new enlightenment, at their new liberation, that they're
Mhm.
pissed off. And also, I mean, what I love about the way Abnet draws that, he exercises such an imperialist mindset. You know, when he breaks away from the area that they're meant to stay in, the prescribed arena, and he starts just walking around this city that only days before had been desolated by war. And he thinks, because he has this mindset, he thinks, well, no one's going to harm me, no one's going to tell me no. I can walk around here and I can just go where I want. I can talk to the locals however I want. And he does. He talks to them like
Yeah.
shit, like absolute shit. But he learns, because it's not them that attack him, of course. It's not them, it's Imperial soldiers that attack him, because he dares to look at like the graffiti and whatnot, doesn't he? And he starts to realize that they're not welcome, that it's not like Enlightenment, it's a conquest. It's a conquest just like any of the others that he's read about in the histories of ancient terror of Earth, Um, there's not much difference to it. And he starts talking about that. He gets drunk and starts talking about that. And of course, the Imperial soldiers beat him up for it, because within this enlightened society of freedom of speech and free expression, where we don't submit to superstition anymore. Yeah, you dare talk out against the Imperium,
Yeah.
against the Emperor, even in very mild terms, even in ways that are not going to cause it any harm, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you.
Absolutely. And it's an old story from our perspective, but yeah, as a rule, any empire you'll have, the people who normally championed it the greatest never saw the actual impact.
Right. Of course they didn't.
Uh,
They only heard the
and
stories, right?
yeah, and it's and it, mo- uh, those who actually did get out to those nations, and in some cases got out of the so-called green zones.
Hmm.
Eventually, they kind of got the ideas,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
you
it's
see it
still
throughout like war poetry. You see it throughout
yeah,
war poetry when you look at like Siegfried Sassoon from the front lines of World War One. Now, at the beginning of World War One, he was already a veteran, Siegfried Sassoon, and he was very much a patriot. You know, he's very rah rah British this, British
yeah,
that, and he was well up for that war. He believed in that war,
yeah,
but being on the front lines changed him when he saw what it actually was, the industrial meat
absolutely.
grinder of
Well,
it,
yeah.
which, you know.
World War One was the great changing point in military
in
in warfare,
in
and
human
how
history, I would
yeah.
say.
I mean,
It's yeah.
I've always had the theory that the greatest wrong sin of the British Empire wasn't that it was an empire, because we weren't the first, we weren't not going to be the last, but we were the one that industrialized it
We
more than anyone else.
industrialized it, yeah,
And
yeah.
things for slavery, it's been around for millennia, will be around for
Mhm.
millennia. But again, we were a part in the industrialization of that system,
Yeah,
and that's the greatest evil,
yeah.
I think. And same with the Great War. It was the great suddenly warfare that before had been, even in the decade prior to the Great War, had been really more of a. Most wars had been quite patriotic. Let's go, lads.
Mhm.
You're not going? Here's a white feather, you coward. And, everyone kind of got behind these things. And the Great War was just a literal meat grinder. It just
Yeah.
changed everything.
Well, and also, I mean, like, it's one of the wars where I think normal people started to realize there is no purpose to this.
Yes. Yeah.
This is only happening because industry demands it, and that is
Yeah.
absolutely true of World War One.
And these
And
weird intermingling alliances, and I mean that's the thing. It just snowballed from all these small moments that came together, because suddenly you had all these countries that had these in deep alliances with each other,
and also, I mean, like the other
pulling
thing
each other in.
is capitalism. I mean,
Yeah,
World War One created what we now consider the companies that rule the world, by and large.
Yep.
They largely grew out of it. A lot of the richest families in the world came because they were selling the bombs and the pieces to make the bombs and the bullets and the bandages and whatnot.
Yep.
It was an industrialized war on every level. It was very much a capitalist war. Um, and that's another thing. That's another element that is in this, of course, because of course, I mean, World War One is one of the great narratives that informs Warhammer 40,000. Obviously, I mean, it's called Warhammer 40,000. I mean, for fuck's sake, of course it's going to be. It was
Yeah.
made in the UK in the 1980s. Of course, that's going to be part of its DNA. So you know,
Yeah.
you have these really interesting fractures happening within the Imperium and within the Great Crusade. Before, by the way, there's any hint of an influence of chaos, we haven't even seen it at this point, where Horus himself really, and I mean he really, resents the fact that the territories, the worlds, the cultures that have been conquered by the Great Crusade are then being crushed by taxes. They're trying to rebuild after the Great Crusade has desolated them, and then they're being crushed by taxes in the same instant to fund the Great Crusade, which is going to go on and destroy more cultures. And of course, I mean, Horus is keyed in. He's got this real humanity to him where he says, this is just going to breed resentment. We're going to get rebellion from this. He sees it in a way the Emperor doesn't. At this point, he sees the flaws and the fractures in a way and to a degree that the Emperor doesn't. And that's really interesting. Horus has more humanity than the Emperor does at this point.
Something I just had a moment of realization. You know, the two Primarchs whose worlds would probably be least likely to have revolted, one more than the other? Guilliman's and Lorgar's.
Guilliman's and Lorgar's, yeah, the two opposites, right?
Yeah, because between them, they both understood that you needed to take the time to rebuild these societies, to give them the tools to become part of the Imperium.
That's it. They come at it from different ideologies, but
it's one of the great. Yeah, it's one of the tragedies of the heresy that those two should have been the template for all the other legions, kind of.
Absolutely, and once again, I mean, if the Emperor had, I mean, it's one of the weirdest things. He created Lorgar, so he must have known. He must have known what his nature was.
Yeah.
If you'd have just taken the time to give him an ideology, to give him something that he could be the prophet of, you know?
Yeah, or just airlocked Corferon would have helped a lot as well.
Well, that would have helped a lot. Yes, that would if they'd have been a bit more judicious in the arseholes that they allowed in. Yeah.
And notice of word bearers, no one by the name of Erebus.
Yeah. I mean, he's introduced in this book, isn't he?
Yeah,
introduced in this book.
And again, the Warrior Lodges is one of those things that I like the idea that the Space Marines at this point are starting, and the Primarchs are starting to realise there will be a point where they're not really needed anymore.
Right.
And what comes next?
I mean, this is a question, isn't it? I mean, this is a whole Fluffenhammer video, by the way, guys. This is a whole discussion video, which let's assume that the Great Crusade somehow succeeded, and that it was what the Emperor said it was meant to be, which I doubt, by the way, at this point. I think he had loads of agendas behind that were bubbling underneath. But let's assume that it was what he stated. It was this empire. It was going to basically secularize the whole universe, unite humanity. And let's assume that chaos is not even a factor. Chaos was extinguished or becalmed. The warp was becalmed, and it succeeded. Which Space Marine legions and Primarchs would have a place in that?
That's a good point. I mean,
you can automatically, the ones that come to mind that absolutely wouldn't, that would need actually destroying. They would need destroying in the same way that the Thunder Warriors did before. The World Eaters, obviously.
The World Eaters, unfortunately, yes.
They're World Eaters, without a shadow of a doubt.
If the World Eaters hadn't followed Angron with the nails,
yes, then they'd have been all right, probably.
But because, and I'm always quite touched whenever I read anything about World Eaters, because everything that they are is out of a desire to understand him. to understand Angron. And
I
it's
mean,
really sad that they
know,
mutilate themselves in that
yes,
that much to
we'll
get it.
definitely
But,
we'll get to it when we get to Betrayer, but
oh
yes,
yeah,
it's so sad.
but
They're the
sadly, yeah,
most tragic. They're the most
they,
tragic of the legions, without a
they're
shadow
the
of a
ones
doubt.
that has to be put down. I mean,
Yep,
the other, let's
absolutely.
see.
The Night Lords
Perturab,
have to be put down.
oh god, the Night Lords. Yeah,
To be honest, they should have been put down long before,
oh
shouldn't they?
yes.
Let's be honest. You know?
Someone somewhere was not really paying attention to their vetting, shall
This
we
is the
say?
other thing, isn't it? This is the other thing, right? The
Mm,
Emperor markets himself as being like he denies his divinity. He absolutely defies being
mm,
a god in this universe. But it doesn't really make much difference, does it? Let's be
yeah.
honest. It doesn't really make much difference. It's certainly within the remit of imperial rhetoric. He
Mm,
is he is regarded in godlike terms. No one, even within the constraints of this secularist ideology, dares to say anything against it, or because it's
mm,
considered blasphemy, right?
yeah,
It's considered to be blasphemy. So bullshit for a start,
yeah.
Oh, I'm not a god, but you kind of are. Bullshit. But how is it someone who's lived as long as he has, who understands humanity in the way that he does, who's seen as much history that he does, who created the Primarchs, who
Mm,
has met Night Haunter, who went to not to what's it called, their world,
uh,
I can't, Nostromo. It's
Nostromo.
Nostromo,
Yeah,
and met him firsthand and saw what he'd done with it and how he'd
yeah.
organized it.
And didn't even
Didn't
try to explain
Right.
his visions to him.
Didn't try to help him with that. Didn't say, oh, by the way, you know who else has visions? Your brother Sanguinius and your brother Magnus. Magnus can really help you because he understands all this crap.
Yeah,
Go and
yeah.
talk to Magnus. you know,
But in at the end of the day, let's see, World Eaters,
yeah,
Night Lords.
Space Wolves. They wouldn't have had a place. No chance.
What about the
That's
Blood Angels?
Yeah,
ooh,
their
Blood
curse.
Angels is an
Yeah,
interesting one.
it's
Yeah,
interesting, but their curse. I mean, it's really fascinating because I mean, we'll get to it when we get to it again. But
yeah.
one of
I
the
do like what they've done
things
with their curse to
it
explain
it changed a
why it
lot.
works the way it
It
does.
changed a lot because before these books, the curse was always, and I mean always, as a result of Sanguinius's death on the bridge of the
Mm,
Vengeful Spirit. These books change it. They change
yeah,
it quite
I,
significantly. The blood
I-
curse is already there.
yeah,
Hmm.
and it's a side effect of what the Revenant Legion was supposed to be. That they
Yes.
were, in fact, their gene seed can take any dregs of humanity and
Mhm.
remake them
But
into the most beautiful of the legions.
yeah, but of course, before Sanguinius was found, they were on the verge of being destroyed, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah, because they were the most.
Monsters,
But that's what they
absolute
were for.
monsters. Yeah.
They were the shock troops that are sent
Hmm.
into the worst environments
Hmm.
they recruit from whatever is available to them.
Yeah. Interestingly, you know who would absolutely have a place? Perturabo
Oh
and
yes,
the Iron
Perturabo.
Warriors.
He just needed a chance to use his vision as he always saw it.
I really like
When we see,
Perturabo in these
oh,
books.
Perty,
I really like Perturabo in these
yeah,
books because I think of all the traitor Primarchs, many of them have like an inkling of a point, but he has an absolute point. I mean, like
oh yeah,
again, if the Emperor just said, you know what, Perturabo, your guys, they are doing the hard work, they're doing the hard missions, and
mm.
without you, the Imperium would fall apart.
Just
That would have
recognition.
done it.
That's everything he needed.
That
Just
probably
some
would have done it.
recognition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that probably would have done it.
and
But,
and just and perhaps to be told, look, I know this is hard work for you and your sons,
yes,
but
that's it. But you,
once
you,
this is done,
you're the
I
glue.
know
You're
you
holding it
have a
all
vision.
together. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are. Without you, without your legion fortifying the worlds that we've conquered, it wouldn't hold. It would not hold. You are so essential to us.
yeah,
You are so essential. Same with the
yeah.
Death Guard. I think if Mortarion had got that, from his dad, because they were doing more or less the same thing. It's like they
I mean,
probably,
Mortarion, he's always had that bitterness because of
yeah, because of the thing with
Biggie.
his adopted dad, the other
Yeah,
dad. Yeah, yeah.
because of Biggie taking that from him.
But
But
again, it's how it's handled, isn't it?
yes, yeah.
It's how it was handled. There's so much here. I mean, I think,
You know who I think wouldn't. Here's an initial one. I don't think the Raven Guard would find a place in the Imperium because
Yeah.
Korax, at his core, he might have been happy to fight to build it. I
Mhm.
don't think he could live with it.
No, I mean,
He would
if
either leave
there's
as he did post heresy,
yeah,
and take all of his sons with him, or eventually he would rebel because
yeah,
that's his nature. He is the rebel amongst
yeah.
not in the way that Russ is. Russ
Mhm,
is the brawler. He's the guy who will punch out
mhm, mhm.
on a whim and then laugh after it. No.
But with Korax, if there are
Oh,
no enemies to fight, if there's nowhere to infiltrate, if there's no sedition or anything like that, which presumably there wouldn't be, if this crusade had come off, what's the purpose of him? You know, he doesn't really have
yeah,
anywhere to go. That's the thing. He
yeah,
doesn't really have anywhere to be. The
yeah,
whole legion
yeah.
doesn't. The White
But
Scars would probably be quite difficult because
for White Scars, I've got two thoughts on. Either Jagatai would just take them back to Chogris,
yeah,
and they would remain. And he would basically burn the ships in orbit, and they would live out the rest of their
yes, I
existence
can
there.
see that. I can definitely see
Or
that with the White Scars.
or he would gather his sons together, and they would travel beyond. They'd see
Mm.
what's beyond
See
the
what's
border.
beyond the
Yeah,
borders of the
they,
galaxy. Yeah,
and
interesting.
he might even take that. Might even be a way that the Emperor thinks to get rid of,
Mm.
to dispose of Korax,
Yeah,
perhaps to,
yeah,
to
yeah.
send him off with him.
Actually,
I,
that
I could
that
I could
does make
see
sense.
I
You
could
know,
see that actually as a way for the Emperor to avoid.
actually,
Well,
I mean, you could do that with a lot of the problematic legions. I mean, I know we said that Night Lords are an obvious one, but what about if rather than destroying them, the Emperor sent them into the areas that need purging, which are really harsh? What about Comora? What if he
oh
sent the
God,
Night Lords to destroy Comora on a constant crusade to contain and destroy Comora? They would get on quite well there, wouldn't they? I mean, basically, you'd be matching, they'd be
I
matching
only see
the
one problem with that. You do run the risk of
them.
Nighthawker and Vex
Yeah,
getting on rather well
actually
with each
getting
other.
on okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that might be a problem. That could be a problem. But no, I mean,
But
like, I mean, even in this book, you are seeing this. Like the
yeah,
the Lunar Wolves, the Sons of Horus, there are already problems. There are characters who are very high in the hierarchy of this organization who are looking at the Imperium and looking at what they're doing and going, I'm not sure about this. Loken does it constantly.
yep,
Horus does it. By the end of this book, Horus is kind of suffering. He's kind of suffering because he's not at home with what the Imperium is doing. You've
yeah. I
got,
mean,
I mean,
he was the Emperor's right hand. He is now the
yeah,
Emperor's proxy for
Roxy,
all things
yeah.
outside of Terra.
And it ain't
He
working.
No, and I mean, he's so human because he's crippled with self-doubt as well.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
he doesn't think he should have been made War Master,
No. And
which is
he's probably right. He's probably right. I mean, it probably would have
yeah,
been better giving it to someone like Gilliman or, yeah, I think Gilliman would have been a good choice, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, Gilliman over Course for Heresy, his character is
Well, I mean, but
oh,
again, it's one of the many things that this book changed about the whole setting.
mm,
Before this, Gilliman is almost nothing. There's almost
yeah.
nothing to him.
He's
Um,
just Space Roman. That's
that's
literally it,
basically it. He is
and
the
he's been
space
sitting on a
Roman
throne for
emperor.
10,000 years.
That's it. That's basically it. The most interesting thing you know about him up until this point is
He
he
had the
wasn't
biggest legion and the most. He
had the
is the most
biggest
organized.
legion. Yeah, had his own empire. That's about it. That's
Yeah.
kind of it. But then again, that's true of all of the Primarchs in these
Mm,
books. They are fleshed out so profoundly. Horus himself, I mean, like, one of the big shocks I got is how nice he is. It's how
yes.
nice he is in this, because he is. He's really friendly. He's really pleasant.
Yeah.
Laughs a lot. Laughs and plays with people a lot. He uses his stature to kind of like make jokes. He'll come to people and he'll be like, he'll be playing the part of the big bad Primarch, and then he'll crack a joke
Yeah,
and
he's
disarm
incredibly good
them.
at disarming people. I think of all the products, that's his superpower. That's why
Yeah,
I think the Emperor decided to give it to him.
yeah.
But he's the one who he may
He's
not realize it,
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, he can bridge all the bridges between his brothers. And
I really
make them
love, I
work.
mean, my favorite part with Horus, and I absolutely love it, is when it all goes wrong with the Interrex. Because he's so right. When they encounter the Interrex, are one of the best things in this book. Abnett has pulled a blinder with the Interrex, because the Interrex are Abnett basically saying to the reader, it could have been, this is the last hope.
Yeah.
There were other ways. There were other ways for humanity to do this, to operate in this universe, to survive in this universe, to withstand the worst of this universe. And here it is. Here's the Interrex, a human empire that operates with aliens, that is technologically advanced enough that it can defend itself against predatory aliens. It doesn't annihilate them. It actually it cripples them so they can't engage in space travel. Then it gives them a home. It gives them a place to thrive. And they know about chaos. They know about it.
What do you think would have happened then if the Interrex had survived the events of Horus Heresy? You know, does the Imperium get pushed back? Do the Interrex survive for much longer? Because the way that they are, they feel like they're living on borrowed time as it is.
I mean, the Imperium, as it is in Horus Rising, this is the Imperium where it's reached kind of the point. It's almost unstoppable at this point. It's become
it's at its apex.
It's become a machine that it's running off its own gas now. They could stop everything and it would still keep running.
Yeah,
and they could end.
It's self-destructive as well. And Horus is getting this. There's a scenario, if it weren't for fucking Erebus, there's a scenario where Horus sits down with the Interrex, because that's what he was doing. He was actually defying Imperial edict. I mean, he has that fight with Abaddon, doesn't he? Because Abaddon is like, no, kill them, kill them. They consort with aliens, kill them. Horus is saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I am not going. I don't care what Imperial credo says. I don't care what Imperial tenet says. I don't care what my dad says. I'm going to sit down with them. I'm going to talk with them. And if we can get through this without a war, I'm going to do it. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. There's a scenario where Horus and the Interrex become the actual saviors of the Imperium, where they talk and he takes the information on chaos back.
And
where
even
they demonstrate that look, we've done it. We've survived for God knows how long. And we do it this way. It's completely different to the way you do it. You don't have to annihilate entire cultures. You don't have to annihilate entire species, okay?
Let's just game this out for a second. So Horus sits down with the Interrex. He comes to an agreement. He comes to an understanding, which is a really key word I think we need to keep in mind. And then he knows that he can't just bring this to his father point blank. He needs to have support, and he would actually then gather. He would bring in Lorgar. He'd bring in Magnus. He'd probably bring in Perty. He'd bring in Perty,
Angron, and Morty, the ones that he trusts and that he knows, right? So there would have been a kind of heresy, but it doesn't necessarily have to have been what it was, right?
It wouldn't have been it would have been a heresy, actually, in the truest sense of it. In that, not
an ideological schism, but
one where they would try and present an argument to their father.
He would have been Martin Luther, wouldn't he? He would. Yeah, that's what he would have been.
That's a really interesting idea and actually, there's a fair few of the loyal Primarchs who would actually have joined him on that.
Absolutely, Guilliman would absolutely.
Jagatai would have joined him.
Absolutely would.
Corax would have joined him.
Corax probably would. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, the only ones that would.
Russ would have needed punching, because
Russ and Dawn would have needed kicking down, basically.
Dawn is so inflexible. I mean, he would follow his father.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, he is. We see this. He's pretty much incapable of questioning the Emperor in that regard.
Yeah, completely.
Everything he does is in service of his father. So
Abnett plays a blinder by introducing the Interrex. He's essentially saying to the reader, here's the alternative. Here's what
Yeah.
could have been, and it's the last gasp. And it has
It's
enough
what makes for such a
understanding.
great tragedy, this book.
Right. And
Everyone, your hope. More so if you're like us and we knew what was
yeah,
coming. We
I
know
mean,
what's going to happen.
that
It's like,
conversation
oh,
between Loken and the Interex sergeant, when the sergeant says, "Oh, of course you know about chaos. You're a spacefaring race. No spacefaring race can understand, can actually operate and not know about chaos. Of course you do." And then that Loken looks at him and is like, "I know the
what?
word, but I don't know what the hell you're talking about." And that moment of understanding where the Interex is like, "Oh my God, you are like
Don't
children."
know.
He says you are like children. We got you so wrong. We got you so wrong. You're like children. And it's like, yeah, that's the Imperium. That is the Imperium. It's kind of blind.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Emperor knows this and he didn't explain it to them,
Yeah.
it's like, what is wrong with him?
And it's not like he doesn't have some people that who know alongside him, because
Right, Malcador knows.
Malcador knows.
Absolutely knows.
Most of the people working on the Webway project know.
Yep, absolutely they
I mean,
do.
but
The
what
Custodes, I think, know. Most of the
custodians?
Custodes are aware.
Yeah,
Um,
in their weird way. The
in their
Sisters of
weird way.
Silence know.
But the way he's marketed this to the Primarchs is really strange. He tells them, because Horus is aware that there are things in the warp, because you get that whole scenario in the Whisperheads where Loken's friend is possessed by something awful. Which
Yeah, but
ironically, I mean, like, massive spoilers, by the way, guys, which kind of turns out to be like a demon that might have been created by Loken.
yes,
In some
Sam,
weird way.
man,
It's like,
that's such a
that's a, yeah.
oh
Yeah, we'll get to it, guys, but it's
yeah.
really weird. It's really weird.
I mean, they treat. I mean, as far as they're aware, the entities that live in warp, they're just another type of
they're
Xenos.
just another type of Xenos, right? Which is
Which
not untrue.
no, it's not a bad way to think about them. It's
It's
just
really not.
they weren't given the full
No,
tools
they weren't
to
given the full
understand.
tools. That's it. They weren't given to understand that they're not just like these individual entities. There are these massive, vast, intelligent entities
Mm,
that are working actively to undermine the whole universe, the
yeah,
whole of humanity. I
yeah,
mean, like, if they were just told that, if he didn't even have to tell them all, just some of the Primarchs, Horus
yeah.
definitely needed to know. Horus so needed to know. The minute he was made War Master, he
Oh
needed
God,
to
yeah.
know.
That was the point he should have been told.
Yeah,
Before
absolutely.
before the Emperor buggers off to Earth, back to Earth.
Magnus needed to know.
Yeah, yeah. Just get those two in a room and have a chat with them and
Have
explain.
a chat. Yeah, absolutely. Magnus, I mean, Magnus of all of them, he was the most at risk because he was
Yeah,
swimming in the warp when he was a child. You know, it's
yeah. It's
it's
I
kind
always
of
think
absurd.
the first mistake that anyone made with the Horus Heresy, and by anyone I mean Big Money E himself,
Mhm.
is that when he made Horus Warmaster, he did not sit Horus down and explain everything,
Everything.
like from the start
Yeah.
to the finish.
The
the
Webway
plan,
The
capital
project.
T,
yeah,
capital P. This is what
Yeah.
we're doing. This is why.
yeah,
Everything in
This,
service of
yeah.
but
this goal.
he
Here's the
gave a
grand
gun.
vision.
He gave a gun to a child and said, "Have at it."
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah,
it is a constant throughout 40k
Yeah.
that the Emperor's, for somebody who was trying to, unite humanity and create a everlasting human empire, the
he brought us
Emperor,
out of, didn't he?
He
well,
really
yeah,
did.
the
He really
Emperor,
did.
he doesn't at any point have enough hope or praise or even just the ability to trust in the people
Yeah,
around him to
Yeah.
move things forward.
Oh, he's
It's
massively
always
flawed. He's
yeah,
massively flawed. I mean, if you take him at face value, which I don't at this point, I am
no,
more
no,
convinced than ever
yeah.
that there was a wider agenda at work behind all of this. But taking it at face value, he makes mistake after mistake after mistake to the point whereby he sows the destruction of the Great Crusade at its very beginnings. At its very beginnings. Um, and it's hard not to see it as either, I mean, like, it's either vast incompetence or as I say, there's something else going on. There is some deeper agenda. And having, with the latter books, reading this in context with the latter books, the Siege of Terror books, it does feel as though that's what's being hinted at, that there's an even wider, like a plan or an agenda that stretches into the 41st millennium and beyond at this point.
Yeah, and he just can't. He just misses the point where everything kind of spins out of his control.
Yeah,
For someone that proclaims to have such vision, man, does he have some big blind spots.
Yeah, it's the supremest irony, isn't it? It is the supremest irony that, like, of course, he has ended up being worshipped as the god, as like a monotheistic god in the present day. And of course, I mean, by the way, that's another change that this book introduces, guys. Before this book, there was no notion of the Imperium being this vast secular project, being like anti-religion. He always defied that he was a god. That was always true. He always said, no, I'm not a god. But he didn't care that people worshipped him as a god.
No.
He didn't like there was no like the Lectitio Divinitatus, which is like it's an underground cult in the Great Crusade, and it's massively frowned upon because, of course, it's what it's the antithesis of what they're told the Crusade is meant to be. But that wasn't the case before. That wasn't the case before.
It's again, it's just real fascinating how this one book, more than probably anything else, changed so much of what, just for the context of what we knew.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
prior to Horus Rising, it blew so much up
completely. And people, I mean, because it's quite old now, people have kind of forgotten how much it's changed and how much it's informed. I mean,
it's nearly 20 years old.
Yeah, it's an old book now. It's an old book, but there is the pre Horus Rising Warhammer 40,000, and there's the post Horus Rising Warhammer 40,000. I mean, it's got to the point now where this series has influenced not the background, and the rules.
Yeah,
there are rules that have come about because of the things that are written in these books. Things like the Oath of Moment, which is now the universal Space Marine special rule, didn't exist before this book.
Nope.
Concept of the Oath of Moment did not exist.
There'd have been kind of inklings of it, but it hadn't been codified in the way that it is here. You had
like
guys
this.
with all their purity seals, and
yeah,
it didn't really mean anything, and now it kind of gave it a greater meaning.
Absolutely, yeah.
These are actually, it's not just blessings. This is these warriors have made a particular oath.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah,
I mean, we won't get to it until False Gods, but the whole nature of Horus's fall is different from the previous fluff. In the previous fluff, he's corrupted when his crusade comes to Davin, and they are parlaying with the warrior lodges of the tribal peoples, and he becomes possessed in the original fluff. That's how he's corrupted. That's not how he's corrupted in these books. It's very different. No, it's very different.
His fall is a longer, more complex, and I'd say far more interesting dive.
Yeah, absolutely. I never liked the fact that he was possessed, because it's like, well, that takes responsibility away. It takes autonomy away from him, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Interestingly, they give that to Fulgrim. They kind of second the story over to Fulgrim, and then they take it away from him as well. Which is, again, I'm glad they did it. They maybe could have done it in a better way, but I'm glad they did it, because I like the fact that Fulgrim engineers his own fall. I like that.
It's one of the things I quite like looking back on it. That of all the legions, the Emperor's children were the only ones who did it completely of their own volition.
Yeah, they fell of their own volition.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Fell because they wanted something to believe in. They yearned to believe in something.
I mean, when you read books like Aurelian, for example, and the First Heretic, they don't fall so much as they learn. They kind of learn, because they are, in a weird way, the word bearers are right. There is a fundamental metaphysics of this universe, and it is chaos. I mean, chaos is the fundamental metaphysics of this universe. And the gods of chaos do reward them, and they do want their worship, and they do provide what they say they provide. It's just awful. It's just horrific,
But they only went looking at it because of Monarchia, because they were chastised and their faith broken.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whereas Fulgrim, he learns about chaos.
Oh, he learns. He
and he just kind of
he's
he's like, sure, I'm down for this.
I'm down.
And Legion follows him.
When he gets out of that painting, he is all in. He is totally Slanesh's creature at that point. And it's because he wants to be. He's made that decision. It's so interesting.
Yeah, everyone else, Angron has no choice in his.
No choice at all. Like none.
Perturabo,
Magnus doesn't have any choice either.
Yeah,
Magnus is kind of forced into it.
He's back against the wall, no choice.
Yeah.
God,
Morty, obviously.
Morty. Well, that's what you get for making a best friend of someone.
Typhus,
yeah.
Rather Typhon as he is at this point. He's still Typhon at this point, isn't he?
Yeah.
What an arsehole.
Night Haunter, well, it was either join the heresy or get murked by Russ.
Basically,
probably.
He was on the edge, wasn't he? Because he'd actually the Legion was on the edge of being destroyed, wasn't it? You know?
They were just kind of ahead of the message to get the shank for fuckers. Perty was just so pissed off by this point. Mm-hmm. He just needed an excuse, really. And
but no, I mean, the whole history. I don't know why people don't talk about this more. There are very few like videos or discussions of this. The Emperor's Children, their whole background is changed. Their whole background is changed in these books. In the original Fluff, in their Index Astartes article, so very recently, their background is that they are one of the legions. They don't fall along with Horus. They're one of the legions that's sent to parley with them at Istvan 3, is it?
Yeah, and
they fall there.
And Horus convinces them to join him then. Yeah,
but that's changed. That's changed completely. They're one of the alongside the World Eaters.
They're one of Horus actively entreats with and says,
"Absolutely,
meet us here. I've got a plan."
Yeah, it happens almost right away.
Yeah,
which is interesting. It's an interesting change.
It really is, and it adds so much more to Fulgrim's character as well, because before this, we just knew him as the weird four-armed snake dude.
Oh, well, he had literally no background at all.
Yeah.
Like, literally nothing. We knew, or even with it, theirs was one of the very first Index Astartes articles as well, so they didn't really, it was still a bit raw. So there's not much. You know that he was found on a world called Chemos. That's it.
That was kind of it.
You're missing a very important part.
What's that?
He was sexy, according to the Titan Legions book.
Yeah, he was very, very beautiful. That too, yeah.
No, that's not the word they use. They use sensual. That's the word that they use in the Titan Legion background.
Yeah, okay. I get with that. But these books introduce so much, and I love. As I say, there are going to be later books that are not they're not quite as intelligent as this one.
No,
put it that way.
I think we said at the start, Black Library didn't really expect Horus Rising to blow up like it did.
Mm-hmm.
Those first 3 books for the opening trilogy, you can read those, and there's clearly a plan for those 3.
Yes. And then it kind of falls off a cliff.
You start to think they maybe didn't have a plan for much further up. Because the heresy was really kind of weirdly plotted anyway, to our knowledge at this point. So we knew about Istvan, we knew about Talan, Prospero,
and
the siege.
And the siege, that's it, right?
Yeah,
and the scouring in the aftermath.
Yeah, the Ultramarines we knew had been sent far off into the Galactic East,
on a wild
so
goose
they were
chase,
nowhere near. We knew that Russ and the Lion would be the 2 who broke the siege in the end. And we knew that Horus dropped the shields on the Vengeful Spirit.
That was about it.
And killed Sangi and then got blasted into non-existence. That was literally it. We knew nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then honestly, I hope we do come back and talk about something, because the heresy is...
We'll do them all. We'll get to them. We'll absolutely get to them. But
goody. A 40-plus book series. Excellent.
Yeah, right. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Oh, wait till we get for Battle for the Abyss. It's going to be hilarious.
It's weird. Everyone hates that book. I find a lot I enjoy about that book.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
It's not Mechanicum, which isn't a book.
It's like Battle for the Abyss is very broad strokes, isn't it?
It is.
It's a
The thing I
big,
like about Battle for the Abyss is it
silly
gives you
comic
your
book.
first glimpse of Loyalist, World Eaters, and
Yeah.
Thousand Sons.
Yeah, and actually, the Thousand Son in that is the best character in it.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually quite cool.
Yeah.
One thing I do hate about it, the portrayal of the word bearers. Zarakinel, is it? He's
Yeah.
such a
I mean, the word bearers
mustachio
do.
twirling villain. It's like,
I mean, but it is kind of the word bearer's place in the heresy. But anytime you meet a word bearer's character, odds on, if they're not Erebus or Corphaeron, they will be doing their best impression of them.
Yeah. It's like, come on, guys. They're meant to be subtle. They're meant to be manipulative. I mean, like manipulative to the point that they could bring Primarchs over to their side,
Yeah.
Erebus is really successful. He's really goddamn successful. He worms his way into everywhere, does Erebus?
Yeah. And thankfully, he does get a little bit of comeuppance at the hands of.
Yeah, he does, and that's going to be fun too. I mean, Lucius gets a little bit of one in this, doesn't he? Gets himself punched in the face by Loken.
Not enough.
Oh yes,
not enough. No,
Lucius getting taken down a peg is always quite.
Oh, that's always lovely,
fun
isn't
to
it?
see.
I mean, Lucius is kind of interesting in this book as well. You can see the glimmers of what he's going to become, but he's actually not that terrible at this point. He actually
arrogant,
apologizes.
certainly.
He's arrogant, but he apologizes when he gets things wrong, and he like him and Erebus spar at one point, and Erebus is really good. He's like a really good swordsman, and Lucius is delighted.
Well, it's something that often gets lost when talking about Space Marines, especially when you get to the specialists, for librarians, for tech marines, for chaplains, and their counterparts for sorcerers, the Dark Apostles, and all that.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, yes, they might have an esoteric specialism. They're still a fucking Space Marine.
They're still a Space Marine, right? But to hold his own against Lucius, I mean, Lucius is the best duelist in all of the Space Marine. Like every Legion, he's like the best. To hold his own is really impressive.
Isn't it a case of Lucius, the only person he hadn't faced yet was Sigismund?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think he doesn't, does he?
No, he doesn't.
What a shame.
Because I don't think Lucius. Actually, I'm trying to think now. After the Istvan books, does Lucius crop up very often?
Not often. He is in like the Emperor's Children centric books. He's in Angel Exterminatus quite a bit.
Yeah. Does he crop up with Siege at all? Because I can't remember.
I think he does. He does crop up like once or twice, but he's not significant.
Yeah. But it's one of those weird things that he would have been a good if Lucius had been at the Siege and faced off against Sigismund as the champion.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Sigismund is one of the more is a really fascinating journey for a character.
I like Sigismund. I mean, he's great in this book, isn't he? Because he is I mean, like surprisingly, this really shocked me this time. He's one of the ones who's talking out kind of against the Imperium. He says to Loken at one point, like, you really are naive. He says, like, you think this is going to last? You think this is forever? Nothing lasts forever, Loken. Nothing lasts forever. Not empires, not emperors, nothing. This will fail eventually.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and when he gets to the Siege, when he gets to the Siege, he's and his final run of, as Dawn tells him, hurt. He's completely dispelled his ego.
Yeah.
And that's what Lucius's power latches onto. It's what brings him back for most people. Any hint of satisfaction or pride.
Yeah.
And Sigismund, as we see him fighting through the various champions of the legions, he has none of that at all.
He's like a vessel, isn't he? He's completely empty. In fact,
when he faces Khan, Khan's actually terrified of what he is.
Yeah, he can't because of course Khan by this point has become basically the vessel for Khorne, hasn't he? He's become like the harbinger of Khorne's rage. You can't.
And Sigismund is just complete. He can't grasp what Sigismund has become. This complete cold fury. It's
very interesting, and that's what gives Sigismund the edge ultimately, isn't it? That's how he gets Khan's.
And it's one we get tragic, because, like you say, in this book and a lot of the earlier books, and in fact in his own book, the the character series, Sigismund begins as a much more personable, thoughtful character.
Yeah, absolutely. He's well liked, isn't he? I mean, like, the Imperial Fists tend to be arseholes in these books. You know, they're like their father. They're like Rogel Dawn. They tend to be very standoffish. Sigismund is all right. He's a bit like Khan in that regard. You know, Khan, when we first meet Khan, is really nice. He's a really cool guy. You know, he's
You understand
the one.
why they have their positions as the seconds to their Primarchs, because,
Absolutely.
well, these are the ones who, like Horus does, bridging between his brothers, these are the Legionnaires who can go to the other legions.
And talk to them,
engage with,
engage with them. I mean, like, the only real exceptions are characters like Lucius and like Fabius. Fabius pretty much is as he starts as he means to go on. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. He you got to give him this. He maintains his focus in all things.
He really does. He's very interesting, actually, in these books, Fabius, because he never buys into it. He's one of the few characters who never buys the bullshit. Never buys the bullshit. Ahriman is lovely. Ahriman's a really lovely character when we meet him.
Yep.
Like, genuinely, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. I mean, Ahriman throughout the Heresy books is, anytime he crops up, I'm there, because he's always really interesting to read about.
I'm kind of with him. He's nice. I mean, when you see him, you do see, spoilers again, guys. We're going to assume you've read these books, okay? We are going to assume you've read these books, okay?
If not, why are you listening to us ramble?
Why are you listening to us? Yeah. When you meet him towards the end of the siege, when he's like pilfering through the libraries of like of Malcador,
and he's engaging with
Kirill Sinderman. And he's basically fanboying. He's like, "Oh, I read your stuff. I like you."
I have to admit, I was half expecting him to pull out a copy of one of Sinderman's books and say,
"Could you sign this for me?
Could you sign this?"
Yeah, because he's actually talking to them, isn't he? Like, there's Kirill, there's a couple of other mortals there.
He's not. He is threatening. He is kind of. He's in Ahriman mode, but he's also in Ahriman, the teacher mode.
Yeah,
he understands that there's at least one person in this room who will understand what I'm talking about.
Ahriman's not a monster. That's one of the most interesting things about him. He does monstrous
things. That's I think that's a really good way of expressing it. Most of the Astartes that are most interesting in these books are not monsters.
No, they're really not. Khan isn't.
Yeah.
Khan isn't.
Yeah.
For all of what he becomes, he's not, you know. It's just that they all end up doing absolutely terrible things. There are some that are monsters. Typhon is a monster.
Yeah,
From
Typhon.
the get-go.
Typhon, Erebus, Corpheron. They're the ones I think are pretty much irredeemable.
Pretty irredeemable,
And, well, we've already mentioned the Night Lords.
Just
run from a black hole, someone. Just...
Even, I mean, I love the portrayal of Abaddon in this book as well. Oh, we get his first name, by the way, which what didn't exist before. He was just Abaddon. He's now Ezekiel Abaddon, which is quite nice. It's a kind of perversion. It's a perversion of Ezekiel, obviously.
Was this before or after Talon of Horus came out?
Oh, way before. Way before.
So I was just trying to think off the top of my head, because those two books do a lot to kind of
make him interesting,
make the later Abaddon fascinating.
Yeah, but he's very naive at this point, isn't he? He's like raw Abaddon, you know. So he's totally besotted with Horus at this point. I mean, like, there is no more loyal son of Horus than Abaddon.
Yeah, he is number one son and proud of it and wants everyone to know it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, he's so in love with Horus, it's unreal, you know.
But then later we start to get stuff where we see more from his point of view, and he is a much more interesting character. And some of that is because of AQB's portrayal in the Black Legion. 2 books so far. Please write more, please.
It's the little jokes as well, isn't it, that like Abnet throws in, knowing that what we know. So he talks about Abaddon at one point. Loken says, "Oh, we can't imagine a time when Abaddon is not fighting across the stars and when his name isn't known." And it's like, oh, nor can anyone at this point. He'll be known, all right. Oh, he'll be known, and he'll be fighting forever. Yeah. And in fact, there's a great bit when Abaddon teleports in with his Justarian Terminators, and they're all in black. Obviously, they wear black. And Loken says he thinks to himself, it's like they're part of some other Black Legion. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's one of those lines that it's both great and makes you want to go, oh, ouch.
yeah,
But it hits because we know
yeah,
it resonates.
yeah, yeah.
And it's another sad one because Abaddon is the most loyal son of Horus.
he is, and
And that is what makes him fall.
that's what makes him fall ultimately. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have much of a choice. If Horus fell, he was
Yeah.
always going to fall, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah. And it's what makes, to me, the end of the death hit even harder. That
Oh yeah,
when Loken is there with Horus's body, and he makes the offer,
mm-hmm.
and even though Abaddon says he refuses it, and
But
Loken's, then I will follow you. I will be there every turn, and I will make the offer again and again.
Yeah,
And it's
because Abaddon's he's on the edge, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's on the edge. That could have. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
then
he
Erebus.
understands. Yes.
Prick.
Yes. Yeah.
By the way, guys, you're going to learn as we go on. You're going to learn to hate Erebus. You really are. He's great to hate.
Oh yeah, he's a great character. Utter asshole.
Great to hate. He really is. I mean, the ending of this book, when you find out that he's the one who stole the Interact sword and started basically kicked off the war that destroyed the Interrex. I mean, destroyed the last great hope, the last potential for humanity to maybe survive in some meaningful way in this universe. It's like, oh, you bad man, you know?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Have you read the short story, by the way, guys? Dark Apostle. It's not called Dark Apostle. The one, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one where you find out exactly where he comes from, Erebus.
Oh, yes. One where we see him kill the original Erebus.
That's right. Erebus isn't even his name. He doesn't have a name. He's nobody. He is literally nobody. He's this waif from the streets of...
Yeah, he wasn't even supposed to be in the Astartes.
Nope.
He killed Erebus. The original had been chosen.
Yep.
And he just shanked him and took his place.
Shanked him and took his place. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. He's nobody. He's a nobody. It's really interesting. Elevated to his place obviously by the forces of chaos, by the manipulations of the chaos powers. But I mean, the other thing here that we don't get much of, the book really takes its time before it introduces any hint of chaos corruption. And I like that. I really like that. And I like the way it introduces it as well. You don't automatically get demons of one of the chaos powers. You get this vague influence. You get this pseudo scientific science fiction horror stuff going on. Where
it gives us much more time to luxuriate in the details of the remembrances of the sons of Horus, to get to know them, so that when it all falls apart,
it's primarily political and ideological for a long time, this book. And then when it does introduce the supernatural elements, it's actually quite a shock.
Oh yes,
it's quite nasty. It's like full on horror stuff that happens. I love how insidious it is as well. It's basically Lovecraftian, where you get those little fanes in the Whisperhead Mountains with the pools, with the items around it. And they start to hear those whispers over their vox and I love that stuff. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Things that I really like about this book, which I always get annoyed at, not annoyed, it's too strong a word, but I always feel it's a missed opportunity, is that they get to chaos being personalities far too quickly for my liking. I like this amorphous, unknowable ideal of chaos that you find in these first few books.
Yeah.
It is it's something you cannot ever hope to comprehend.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the closest you get is I am the man beside you in a few books' time, which is incredible. That is terrifying stuff.
Isn't it good? Isn't it
Yeah.
great? And I do love that. I love that so much because it's so undefined and nobody know. Oh, I love his the Astartes. Like Loken is shaken by it. You know, he
Yeah.
he is really not terrified because they don't feel terror that way, but he is absolutely shaken by it.
Yeah. And then Keeler is pushed
Oh,
into
well,
her faith and
yeah, that's another thing Abnett does very well. He kind of seeds the beginnings of things that we'll see germinate later on.
yeah.
A lot of these characters are going to crop up. They're going to be there till the end. Kirill is going to be there to the end. Mercedes going to be there to the end.
I mean, Kirill, spoiler everyone, his story, no one expected where his story was going to go in the end.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
1,000 years later,
Yeah, 1,000 years
founder of the
on.
Inquisition, effectively.
Yeah,
It's like,
essentially that. Yeah, I
what?
mean, specifically the Ordo Hereticus. He is the founder. He more or less is the founder of the Ordo Hereticus. That's what it
I
gets
thought,
at.
no, isn't he the Order Malleus? Because it's heretic. Malleus and Xenos are
That's
formed
right.
in Order of the Beast, and then the Hereticus spins out of
That's right.
the Age
Yes,
of
yeah.
Apostasy, which is
That's right.
another period. I'm done. They haven't done books 4 yet because that
Mhm.
could just be another
Yeah.
one they go off on.
There's a lot
Age
of
of Apostasy?
potential. There's a lot
Yeah,
of potential. I mean, I'm reading the Scouring book at the moment, and that's very interesting. I'm enjoying
yeah.
that. There's a lot of very
I actually,
quiet stories in that where it's just
oh
like
yes,
luxuriating in the desolation of it all.
oh yeah, the aftermath,
I
and
love that.
especially after Era of Ruin, which did so much good work to go
Yeah.
into the immediate aftermath, and
Oh, yeah.
this is what comes after that, and it's
Yeah.
just, ooh,
It's very interesting. It's very
yeah.
interesting. And I hope they go on to do some of the bigger stories from the
I,
Scouring. I
I'm
mean,
I can't wait because was it we've got
the
the
Iron
Dark Angel
Cage,
stuff, the Iron Cage,
the desolation of the Imperial Fists by
yep,
the Iron Warriors.
Breaking
Um,
of the Legions, which how that
yeah,
plays out is going to be real interesting, and also each of the Primarchs disappearing.
yeah.
How?
Like the
Because I mean,
Primarchs, like
some of them have actually already been written already. So
mm,
Corax
yeah, we know
was
what.
written,
Yeah, Korax
and
kind of.
it's in one of the books anyway because it
Yes,
flashes
we
forward.
know what happens to him. He turns into a big
Yeah.
bird monster, which is great.
Yes. I'm still looking forward to when Lorgar gets a miniature, and it's actually a double pack, so you get
So you
Lorgar
get
and
Korax,
Corax.
yeah,
So you can
as
never
a
get
big
rid of the bastard.
raven monster. Yeah, yeah. That'd be great. I mean, he's essentially would be a chaos Primarch for the loyalists. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be great fun, right?
Yeah. Russ, we know, stood up, had an image, and then took all his. Basically, he took his hardliners with him.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the Space Wolves, is that Russ is the first loyalist to understand he's made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I agree with you. When it comes to Prospero, he's a complete dick.
He is.
But
Yes.
he understands he's been a dick. In
He
the aftermath,
does. He
he
does.
understands he's been played,
Mm-hmm.
and everything he does with Bjorn is to try and put someone younger, not as
Yes.
tied to the old ways. I mean, in the Space Wolves flight from Prospero, where they're
Mm-hmm.
chased by the Alpha Legion, he puts some of his most hardcore, pig-headed warriors as the blocking force.
Mm-hmm.
And they willingly sacrifice themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
And the whole course of the heresy is Russ trying to basically remake the Space Wolves into what they become in the 41st millennium, which is
yes.
there's a reason Logan Grimnar is regarded as a beloved hero,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is a very interesting terminology, I think, for how they describe him. Because other Space Marines of that era might be more well known,
Mm-hmm.
but it's Logan whose name kind of raises the hopes of the common man, you know?
Yes, Logan Grimnar's really interesting. I mean,
Mm.
he's the one. He's at odds with the Inquisition a hell of a lot, isn't he? Because he dislikes the way they
Yeah.
operate.
I find it hilarious that somehow he's not gotten the Space Wolves into the Celestial Lion situation.
Yeah. I mean, they're on the edge, aren't they? They're like,
I mean,
you know.
I'd argue the Space Wolves have done more to warrant it because
They've got actual mutants and whatnot, haven't they? They do deploy, like, you know.
I was thinking more that he personally has killed at least one Inquisitor and a Grey Knight Grandmaster.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's the whole Canis Helix thing, you know.
But yeah, there's
Yeah,
fun stuff.
this was amazing. I mean, I really enjoyed rereading it this time as well, and just getting, you know, understanding what Abnett is trying to do with it. It's a very intelligent take on the subject matter, where it could have, you know, they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to put this effort into it. It could have just been, you know, fan pleasing, bolter porn. You know, seeing all your favorite characters being your favorite characters, and in their broadest of broad strokes. It could have just been that, and that would have been fine. That would have been, for the universe, for the setting, it would have been absolutely fine.
I mean, they could have probably banged this whole series out in 20 books max.
Yeah. Oh, easy.
And you know what? That would probably have been enough for a lot of people. And I know that as it stands, it's what, 60 odd books?
It's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, I know that there is a lot of chaff along the way. However,
there is a lot of chaff. Yes.
There is also
Mechanicum.
Quiet you.
No.
But
no, you will not silence me. Mechanicum shit.
I like the stuff of Noctilus Labyrinth. Sue me.
You can like ideas are inside it, but the book itself is absolute knackers.
I mean, I'm kind of biased to this one because I've been playing Necrons for the last 6 months.
Right.
So.
I haven't read Mechanicum for ages, and I've forgotten a lot of it. So it's going to be interesting coming back to it. It's going to be very interesting coming back to it.
Do you know why you don't remember anything about it? Because it's not a book. There are words that are printed onto Dead Tree in a form of an order, but it's not a book.
That's fair.
Fair enough. We'll get to it when we get to it, I'm sure.
But you do get some real gems in the Heresy. And it's one thing. Black Library, with this new re-release they're doing, where they've kind of tried to pare it down to the essentials, there's still stuff there I'm surprised they've left out. They could probably have just cut the Heresy line in half and had a solid lineup.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they
went even further, and it's just fascinating to me.
There are books that they're not bad. They're not bad at all. They're just, you just wonder why they exist. You know, they don't, like Nemesis, for example. You read it and you're like, it's there's nothing wrong with it, and there are interesting things in it. There are very interesting things in it. But if you don't read it, it makes zero difference. And I mean a zero difference to the overall story.
But then you get books like Scars, which I mean, that was interesting just for how they released that, because they weren't sure if White Scars could sell as a book on its own. They did it as a series of e-books instead.
Then you get books like The First Heretic. Now, guys, if there is a book that is the Heresy, that if there's only one you read, that's the one.
Yeah. I mean, one of the joys of the Heresy is that you do get to a point where you start to realize, oh, I can literally just pull out these selections of books just to read this particular arc. That's great.
That's great, isn't it? That's really good fun.
I want word bearers. I want Ultramarines. Wolves, come here, lads.
Yeah.
Why haven't I got more Raven Guard?
It's funny that the book that I would say is probably my favorite book of the entire series is Flight of the Eisenstein.
It's a good book.
It is fun. It is fun.
And it's purely because the entire book is a very well written, very enjoyable experience. But when you get the first Death Guard, it is horrific. Yeah. It is horrifying in a way that no other book has ever been able to do.
It's also
gore,
yeah.
It's also the book that I think when I heard it was coming out and I saw the title, because we'd had Nathaniel Garrow and the Flight of the Eisenstein from that one bit of text, that short story
from ages ago. That was in it was in Rogue Trader, wasn't it? That one,
I think so.
Second Ed, it was.
Was it Second Ed?
Yeah, it's not in Rogue Trader. I'm sure it's Second Ed, or maybe actually no.
It might have been in one of those. It might be in the original chapter approved. I think.
Yeah,
it was in the original chapter approved. Yeah.
It came out the same time as you have the Bill King,
Yes.
Yes,
Siege of Terror and the fight between the Emperor and Horus.
because you also
Yeah.
get Saul Tarbit's mentioned there
Yep.
You do, yep.
for the first time ever.
Now there's a see. That's one of the interesting things as well to think about. If
Oh, Saul.
if they had planned the Heresy series better, or
Yeah.
not better, but if they'd had more sketched out,
Yeah,
do you think they'd have gone to Istvan so quickly?
I
Do
don't
you
think
think they'd have?
so.
Do you
I
think they'd have
think
dragged out so they'd given us more time with some of these
yeah, that's
personalities?
sadly one of. I mean, because of the nature of the
Mm,
beast, right? That is sadly
yeah,
one of the issues with this series. That
yeah,
it gets to Istvan very quickly, and I think
yeah,
too quickly. I also think it
mhm,
becomes. We'll get to it when we get to it, but it does become too sort of we are the followers of chaos
mm.
now much too quickly.
I have to say, what makes a nice counterpoint to that though is the Drop Site Massacre novel.
Hmm. Which I haven't
'Cause
read
that,
yet, actually.
I, I mean, John French,
Love him.
he is kind of the go-to guy now for
Yeah,
Black
I love
Library.
him.
If you want someone to do the big sort of strategic overview of an
Hmm.
engagement, and then to kind of really nail in on specific personalities throughout it.
Yes, he's very good.
And Drops Like Massacre not only does it give you some really good insight into Horus and the legions that have joined him at Istvan 3 for that initial rebellion,
Hmm.
but it also delves really hard into. You get a bit of Korax, you get a bit of Vulcan, you get so much of Ferrus Manus.
Oh,
You get
oh.
so much of him,
Well, that's great because, of course,
and
he is. I mean,
yeah,
sadly, he is in the main series. He's one of the ones who's just given
yeah.
short shrift, isn't he? You
I mean,
know,
sadly, he is for Primarch, who was actually probably the easiest to write into that situation as well.
yeah.
Of all of them, he was for one thing, he had very little written about him, so we didn't
Ve
know what happened to him.
hardly knew anything about him.
Yeah,
Even from his Index Astartes,
yeah.
there's very little.
Korax and Vulcan, we actually knew that both of them survived Istvan in
Mhm,
some way
mhm.
because they had mentions of stuff that they did afterwards.
Yes. But Ferris?
Ferris didn't,
No.
and it's a shame because what when we've seen bits of Ferris in mostly in flashback material, I find him quite compelling because
Yes, he is interesting when you see
yeah,
him. I mean, like, most of the time when you see him in the Heresy series, it's actually flashbacks that Fulgrim is having.
yeah.
Because,
I
of
mean,
course, him and Fulgrim were besties, they were
yeah,
really good friends.
yeah. I mean, I kind of adore his ghost cropping up in End of and Death Book 2 because I think that's a
Yeah,
wonderful sequence
that's
because
kinda cool. That is
it,
kinda cool.
yeah, he may have been brought to there by Horus, but it's still Ferris at its core,
Mhm,
and he
mhm.
the the whole kill him for me, would you?
Yeah, come on,
Is
just do it for me, yeah.
but no, you do get some good stuff with him in Drop Sight, and it adds a bit more
That's
nuance to
good.
both him and actually it's everything around that the events of Istvan
Mhm.
becomes much more interesting because of it.
Yeah.
It's
It's
probably a book
it's
that wasn't essential, but I'm glad it exists.
Yeah, absolutely. It is good to see that fleshed out a bit more because it is one of the key pivot points, isn't it? It's when the heresy
Yeah,
explodes, right? It's when the heresy becomes the heresy.
yeah,
So, yeah, it is important. It is important. And so much happens there, of course. I mean, you get the death of Ferrus Manus, that's huge.
yeah.
Um,
You get the shattering of the Iron Hands, the Salamanders, and the Raven Guard.
yeah. Oh my God. The turning of those legions which were thought to be
Yeah,
loyal. The Iron Warriors, the Alpha Legion, the Word Bearers, and the Night
it's another
Lord.
thing where you're reading this book and it's like, okay, you have a plan.
Hmm.
Someone find out. You must. You want either them to realize
Hmm.
that they've got no fallback position, or you want one of those four legions behind them to not turn
To
traitor.
not
You
turn,
know,
right? Yeah.
and it's not going to happen.
No, it's sad.
But
It's actually very
but for,
sad.
yeah, but it's so well written that you and even though we know there's stuff that happens with Korax and Vulcan post or after this book, it's got a weird place because some of the events take place during the events of other
Mhm.
books of
Yeah.
the initial cycle. But it just does a great job of getting you into how boned everything is after this.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I will sit and read it now, actually. I'm not sure I was going to, but I like John French. I love him from his
Yeah,
Iron Man
I mean,
series.
I wasn't sure myself either, but as soon as I saw it was John French writing it, that kind of
Yeah.
sold me.
Yeah, he is
So
one of the go-to writers for me
Mm.
from the Black Library. I mean, I think his Iron Man series is one of the best. I love what he
I
does with that
still need to
character.
get around to reading those because
Ah,
I have them around it because I did that
we
part with all
will,
the Black Library books. But,
yeah, we will do them on the book club. Yeah,
oh, we have to.
we will do them as part of this book club. Yeah,
Yeah,
excellent, excellent. It's got to be
it's
done.
inevitable. Yeah,
It's got to be done. And the Fabius books. I'd love to do the Fabius books.
I could be convinced.
Yeah, they're very good. They're very good. One, I mean, the only way I would want to do it is if we could, just as a whinge, as a moan, is the the Word Bearers trilogy.
Oh, the Josh Reynolds
Mhm.
one.
Awful. I mean, so it's actually not Josh Reynolds who wrote that. It's Anthony Reynolds.
Oh, that's it. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so bad. It's so bad. It's awfully written, that one.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a real shame. It's a real shame.
Oh,
But
well,
maybe we could do
hate
that one at
releases.
some point. Yeah, but yeah, Horus Rising, guys. I mean, so powerfully significant. Like shockwaves throughout the entirety of Warhammer 40,000. The culture of Games Workshop, the setting was completely
Yeah.
changed by
I
it.
mean, without Horus Rising, you wouldn't have a Horus Heresy tabletop
No,
game.
the tabletop game, like one of their principal games now.
Yeah, I mean, that
My
purely spun
God.
out of people wanting to play games into Heresy. I
Yeah.
mean,
The
that's
popularity of Forge World in that era.
yeah, I mean, it's why we got the character series and then the Primarch series of miniatures, which no one thought would happen.
Nobody ever, right? The notion that there would be miniatures of the Primarchs at one point was insane. It was like they'll never, ever, ever do it. And from that, obviously spun out the Primarchs in 40k. And again, the very notion was insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's one of those, wait, you're doing what?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's really important to say without the Horus Heresy books, you wouldn't have the Primarchs in 40k. Yeah, the Horus Heresy books were the thing that lit the fire that people got into who the Primarchs were, how important the Primarchs are to the storyline of 40k.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's because of the success of those books that you got Magnus in 2017, 2018, whenever it was?
Right. 2017, end of 2017.
Jesus, I'm old.
Followed by Bobby G, then Morty in 2019, I think.
Yep, I think so.
Because he came with 8th edition, didn't he?
That's right. The Death Guard, the new Death Guard range were the
big
poster
refresh.
children. Yeah, they were the poster children for 8th ed.
Ben Angron and the Lion.
That's right.
Now Fulgrim. I mean, we have 6 Primarchs in plastic.
Madness. With another one. I mean, obviously there's going to be more.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, I have my own bias for who I hope arrives for 11th.
Well, they're teasing Purty. They're absolutely teasing Purty at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Purty at this point is like
inevitable, right?
I just want to say, I said this last year. I said Purty last year. Remember? I just want to point this out.
Yeah, Purty, he is inevitable. They're going to do Perturabo.
I'm just stunned that we're getting not just a dedicated plastic character for the Iron Warriors, but a pretty comprehensive upgrade sprue.
Right, I'm completely shocked. I mean, I'll be honest, completely shocked. And I love that they're doing it. I'm so happy that they're doing it. And of course, if they're going to do it, the Iron Warriors are the way to go because they're the most popular of the Undivided Legions. They're the one that everybody loves. You know, it's that weird holdover from 3.5, isn't it? And Storm of Iron. You know,
and the ability to paint up Imperial Guard artillery tanks in bare metal and checkerboards.
That's it.
Well,
since then, they've just been the most popular Undivided Legion. It's just the way it is, you know. But it does mean they'll do the others. Definitely. The Word Bearers will be coming at some point.
Here's the question: Night Lords. Do you think they'll get a bigger sprue than they've got already?
Like a dedicated one.
Yeah, because you have the sprue they did for Kill Team.
Yeah. I don't
which
know.
it
I'm not
which
sure because
which has a lot of stuff on it,
it's
but
pretty good. It's a pretty good upgrade, but it isn't as
mm,
dedicated as the Iron Warriors
yeah,
one.
it's kind of a bit more intended to do that specific kill team project.
Yes, yeah. Maybe they'll expand that one. Maybe they'll just like update that one a
Yeah,
little bit, put
yeah,
a few more bits and pieces on there because it's pretty comprehensive, isn't it? There's
it
like
is.
there's a lot of stuff for the Night Lords,
Oh,
that
yeah,
have just come through
the way
Kill Team.
the way they're doing the Night Lord's combat patrol box, you're
Mm,
basically you're only using a single one of those sprues,
yeah.
I think, for everyone in that box.
Right, right.
So that's
Okay.
a squad of Legionnaires, a squad of Chosen, and a
Mhm.
Chaos Lord.
Yeah.
So from one sprue, you've got enough heads to do 16 Chaos Space
That's
Marines.
pretty good.
That's kind of bonkers when you
It is.
stop and take a moment.
It really is. And this is the first time they've done dedicated box sets for the Undivided Legion since 3.5. And even
Yeah.
back then, they didn't have dedicated box sets. They just had like metal upgrades, and only some of them. The
Mm.
Word Bearers didn't have one. The Alpha Legion didn't have one. The Black Legion didn't
Yeah.
have one.
The upgrades were a bit
Hit and
weird in
miss.
that
They
era.
were all over the place. They were all over the place.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
I say this as someone who still has the old Iron Hands upgrade pack lying around here
Yeah.
somewhere, the metal one. That's never been used because no,
But I'm just
that's
glad they're
what I
doing
like.
it. It's so
Oh,
good
hell
to
yeah.
see. It's so good to see. I mean, there is of course, we know it may be a Black Library miniature. I don't know, but there is a miniature coming for the Alpha Legion, a character.
Yeah, the Harrow Master,
The
which
Harrowmaster, yeah.
a lot of people are surprised that we didn't have that revealed last week during
Yeah,
the Black
because
Lives
like people
celebration.
just know.
Because
People just
I
know
mean, I
now
mean,
because the
we
Black
we had
Library
we had
author kind of let it slip.
you let us slip, and we saw the spear
Yeah,
in one of the was it in one of
it
the
was the rumor engine.
yeah.
Yeah, the
So we
rumor engine
know
revealed it.
the spear, yeah, and it's just
And it's
oh come
very
on,
distinct. It's very distinct. I mean, it's like
mm,
it's the exact spear from the artwork on the front of the book. So it's like, yeah, we know who that is.
yeah. But it's a good time to be where we are, and a
Yeah,
lot of it is down to this one book.
it's true. It's absolutely true. You just wouldn't. There wouldn't have been the interest in the individual legions and chapters and
Mm,
whatnot without these books. That's the bottom line, and it's great. It's really really cool.
absolutely.
But it's I'm just so pleased that it kind of elevated the material to this degree. No,
Mm,
that's not right. It didn't elevate the material. It teased out what's there.
yeah.
You know?
You can tell that in most cases, he said, making sure Adam didn't go right down the phone line.
Nah.
In most cases, the writers on the heresy novels, they bought what they thought was their A game. And you
Yeah.
can tell, even if it doesn't
Yeah.
always land, you can tell that they're trying damn hard to make sure everything hits the right beats. And there's a one, it's really weird to have 40 odd books
Hmm.
and counting where thematically they're actually still pretty much on the same wavelength across the
Yeah,
series.
they're trying. I mean, absolutely. Even when it doesn't land,
Mm.
you can tell that the writers are taking this very seriously. And that's hard to do. I mean, it is innate, as we discussed, it's innately absurd subject matter.
Oh yeah,
It's innately absurd. It's very difficult to write characters like the Space Marines to make them legitimate, to make them feel real and interesting and complex. And the Primarchs are
Mm.
even harder because they're even more like mythically archetypal than the Space Marines are.
yeah, and
It
they give you the old problem of you're trying to write a literal superhuman genius.
Yeah, and also that has this effect on people around them. So it's hard to get characters interacting with them. It's very difficult to write. So kudos to them. Kudos to them for giving it a damn good go, and for
Absolutely.
making the ones they really do zero in on are actually really cool, are really interesting. I mean, when we get to it, we'll go deep into it. Characters like Magnus, characters like Angron, characters like Lorgar, like Robotay. I love Robotay
Yeah,
in this series. I love Robotay in this series.
Robotay becomes there's a reason. It makes it more obvious why they chose to bring him back as the
Oh
first
yeah.
Loyalist Primarch.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
he's really the only one they could have brought back first.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Absolutely.
it's all informed by what they did in the heresy books that
Yep.
came before then, and
Totally.
I love that. And it's also the fact that they took so long to get to Gilliman.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because it's what book.
Oh my God! When does he
It's
actually appear? He's
it's
referenced a
fair
lot,
to tread
but
is when he first appears.
yeah, so that's
Because
well in. That's
that's with
well
Cal.
into the series.
Yeah, it's before Master of Mankind, which is book 25, I think.
God, yeah.
But it's certainly it's well past the tens.
Holy
Certainly,
moly!
because it comes after the Thousand Suns and Space Wolves kerfuffle.
Yeah, wow, that's really fascinating that they don't
Yeah.
introduce him earlier.
Yeah, they keep their powder dry on some of the Primarchs quite impressively, I find.
Yeah, I'm glad that they took the time. I'm glad that they took their time to determine who he is and how he operates, because he could have been very easy to make very, very, very boring.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that when they started on Gelman, they may have had an inkling of where they may have wanted to take things at some point. So they kind of knew with him, he had to be more important than he was.
Yeah, yeah, they
I
had
think
to
they
sort of
achieved that
elevate
quite.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, because if they'd just done him as he was in the original,
Oh, well, he doesn't do
he
anything,
wouldn't.
does he? It's
He
like,
wouldn't have. He doesn't take part. That's why they
no.
step in and fill reach, because
Right,
they're
right.
far out on the fringes. They don't take part in the heresy.
That's it. I
They're
mean,
trying
that's
to get,
the whole
and
Calf thing, right?
yeah, the Mark of Kelf.
The Unremembered Empire, that comes out of these books. That is not a thing. It's not a thing before this.
Nope. And man, was it a groovy move for them to make.
Yeah.
I dug that so much.
Really works. Well, guys, I mean, like, that was Horus Rising. If you've been listening along with us, I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we have. This has been great. This has been great getting into this.
It's been fun just listening to you guys get really excited about it. It's
No, it was. I mean, like, I reread the book and then I went and listened to like an audio version of it, and I really had fun with it this time. It was fascinating, and I'm about halfway through False Gods again now.
Oh, nice.
Which I'm also enjoying. Like, Graham McNeil is one of the other writers I really dig in the Black Library. He pushes a lot of my buttons. He likes to get into the occultism and the weirdness of it all, and he's very good at it. He's very, very good at it. So yeah.
Well, any book that McNeil's got its name on is usually well worth a read.
It's normally worth a go, isn't it? It's normally worth a go. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm going to love him because he does The Emperor's Children so well.
Yeah, for me, it's because he created Euroventures, who...
Oh, yeah, of course. My goodness.
And for other folks, it's because he created Honsu. So
yes.
Who,
by the way, I'm so
shocked. Created him twice, no less.
Yeah, I'm shocked he hasn't got a miniature.
I know, right?
I am so shocked he hasn't got a miniature.
I mean, Iron Warriors, if they get a second character, it's got to be Honsu.
It's got to. I don't know who else it could be.
Or if Black Library can entice Graham back to write another book with him, that has to be the tie-in model.
Yeah, sure.
It's such a no-brainer, because
it is such a no-brainer. People are crying out for that. He's a fan favorite. He's an absolute fan favorite.
He had one miniature 25 years ago as a Black Library limited edition with Uriel Adventures, when they were still doing the little dioramas.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And it's not a great figure, if I'm being honest. It's got the old. Do you remember the old power axe from the melee weapon sprue?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got one of those.
Okay.
It's not the best look for him.
Not special enough. Yeah, not special.
No, he needs something a little flashier.
Yeah,
definitely.
Definitely.
And who wouldn't want to see what the design team could do with what
they do with him now?
Jeez. Yeah.
After the latest slew of releases, Huron Blackheart and whatnot. Oh my God. Cannot even imagine. But yes, before we slip off, guys, is there anything you'd like to throw out into the ether?
I mean, the only thing really I found interesting is that going back through both Rogue Trader and Second Ed, there's so little information on the Horus Heresy that it's not until, and I might be wrong on this, but I've been going through it, looking as you guys have been talking, it seems that 5th Ed is the first time that anyone really tries to do anything in explaining the Horus Heresy. Yeah, that's how long it takes. for the Horus Heresy to get any real background. And even then, it's nothing.
It's really broad strokes,
You have material in the 3.5 ed Chaos Space Marine Codex.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Index Astartes articles have got some stuff.
They had a lot of. They had a smattering of stuff in, but it was more kind of focused on giving you bits about the specific Primarchs than an actual history for heresy.
Oh, absolutely. It's very, and even when it is told or detailed, it's very broad strokes. It is very broad strokes, and largely up until quite recently, it was just a recapitulation of the second Ed Chaos Codex page that had the Horus Heresy in it. It was basically that. It's pretty much all it's ever been.
You normally get that infographic of the 20 legions.
Yep.
And their Primarch.
That's it.
And their homeworld eventually got added to it. And that was pretty much it for really for the longest time for a lot of those legions. That's all we knew about those legions and chapters.
Yeah.
So you've got to come here. You've got to start here, basically.
It's a hell of a starting point, isn't it?
But I just I remember reading it for the first time and being like kind of flabbergasted that they'd gone to the places that they did and that it changed so much and that it expounded on so much.
Yeah.
I just didn't expect it. I did not see it coming, and I remember reading it through for the first time and then reading it again. Because I was like, did I just read that? Am I getting this wrong? I need to verify this in my mind, but it is for my money, it is one of the best of the heresy books, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, that and well, I'm trying to work out what would be a best of that. First Heretic.
I love Aurelian, but that's a personal thing,
Yeah.
I also love Angel Exterminatus because you get Fulgrim like transcending in that, and it's great.
I'd go with 1,000 Sons of Prospero Burns.
Prospero Burns.
That's a good two-parter.
They are epic books. They're so good.
And it's not just because I have those two signed by the authors.
No, they are genuinely good. Betrayer.
Yeah.
Betrayer is really good.
An absolute corker.
Corax and Deliverance Lost. That's a good two-hander for the Grave Guard. Scars. Path of Heaven with the White Scars. That's a good pairing.
Good
the whole Unremembered Empire and Pharos arc.
Yes.
That's
really
so
interesting.
Good.
Really interesting. I love that stuff.
And I'll even say, even though it does have, as Adam has pointed out many times, the most blatant rip-off of Norse folklore ever, Wolfspear does a lot of good work outside that because it gives you a background for Belisarius Cawl.
Oh yes, of course.
Who is still recognizably the same asshole we know and love. And it gives you some
disagree with
stuff.
you. Don't disagree with you on that fact, but Christ Almighty,
and we get for me a great insight into both Russ and Horus as the first and second found sons.
Although they're not.
No.
Not when you read not when you read Alfarius, they're not.
But was he lying or was he not? You shall never know.
It's always hard to tell with the Alpha Legion, isn't it? But yes,
I want it to be real.
I want
great.
it to be real because it's really cool, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we come back, guys, shall we? What would you like to do? Would you like to do a heresy book, non-heresy book?
It might be quite fun to do a Gaunt's Ghosts to shift it around a little bit.
Or would you like to go straight onto False Gods? It's I'm totally open.
As much as I'd love to do Ghosts, I would be concerned about us doing a double hit of Abnett. Because it might indicate our biases.
Okay, no problem. So should we do? And also, I mean, like Horus Rising and False Gods really are two sides. They're two halves of the same story. So should we do False Gods and then?
I think False Gods, and then we can take a dive
into something else. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Sounds like a plan to me.
That sounds brilliant. Well, before we head off, is there anything that you'd like to promote?
Go on, David. You first.
Oh, go on. Right. Well, if you're still listening to this, I co-host the Deeper Dives podcast with Adam here on the Patreon for Fluffenhammer, and with Mr. White, we do Fluffenbusters.
You do.
A show where we pick a film that is normally a sci-fi or fantasy classic of the 80s and 90s somehow. Shocking number of canon movies in there as well. We talk over it, make a commentary. Our most recent show we put up was with George here, where we did Dark City, which was
so
an
much
absolute
fun.
delight.
It was so much fun. Loved watching it. Loved talking about it.
Such a good film.
Yeah.
Massively underrated. Massively underrated.
Yeah.
Go and watch Dark City, guys. It is
absolutely
amazing. It's amazing.
It's another reason for me to hate The Matrix. That's Matrix.
In fairness, The Matrix dropped 6 months after Dark City.
Yeah, but I like having reasons to hate The Matrix.
Adam, have you got anything you want to chuck out?
Oh, you know me, I've got thousands of things all running at any given time. What I'll do is I'll change it up a little bit and go, I would invite you to come to adnicol, that's nicol.weebly.com, where I have all of my artwork, all of my audiobooks are up for free. You can buy my books from there. You know, come and have a look. Come and have a look. There's lots of fun things for you. If you are interested in the Fluffenhammer, I have just unleashed something this in the last couple of weeks, which might interest you, and it's called Remembering the Last Church.
Oh my goodness!
I'm just going to leave it there. If you'd like to remember the last church, I recommend coming and joining our Patreon.
Excellent! Oh my goodness, we'll get to that, of course, as well at some point. That'll be interesting.
Oh yes,
that will be very interesting.
I have a very strange feeling when it comes to the last church.
I'll bet. Yeah, I'll bet.
Single most successful thing I've ever done ever.
Oh, as for me, guys, you can find me on Exaggerated Elegy at YouTube, where there are lots of chats like this, actually. There's lots of podcasts where I talk about fiction and media that interests me with some very erudite and very interesting people. Much.
And then you get us.
Beat me to it.
Lots of video game Let's Plays as well. I'm currently playing through Resident Evil Requiem, which is great fun. I've got to say, great game.
You're the third person I've watched play that game so far, and each time I've thoroughly enjoyed people's reactions to it.
I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. Not only is it one of the scariest Resi games released for a long time, it's also one of the funniest. I'm bursting out laughing at various points. I mean, they're not zombies anymore. They're sort of like they're infected with a virus, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
as the
there's a
virus.
bit more of them still left in there.
Yes, so they've all got like traces of their personalities left. So they mumble and mutter things. There's one that I encountered that's obsessed with turning all the lights off. So that's brilliant. If you go around turning the lights on, you can distract him. He will go around lights off and start turning the lights off. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I kind of love how Grace reacts like a normal person would react in these situations.
Grace is fantastic, as she is definitely by a significant margin one of the most interesting protagonists in a Resi game. Love her to bits.
You know what I realised? We haven't had a game with Claire in since Code Veronica.
No. Oh, where is she? What is she doing?
That was her last canonical appearance in Resident Evil series.
How strange! How strange! You know.
I was lucky enough to get invited onto a friend of mine's stream to play some Vermintide a couple of weeks ago. And we got talking about the Resident Evil franchise and things, and I said, well, isn't it I always find it really weird that so far Code Veronica has never had any form of remake.
Just wait. Yeah, it's been mooted. It's happening.
And then my mate Ross went, do you remember how that story ends?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. That probably won't happen then. Because that's not got a good ending for 2026.
No, it will change, but there is a remake happening.
It's got a bloody change. Good lord.
What else is there? All of my published work, my short story collections and whatnot are available on strangeplaygrounds.com and the Evil Empire of Amazon. If you go and type in George Daniel Lee, you'll find my Amazon author page. On Ginger Nuts of Horror, you'll find my non-fiction series, My Life in Horror, which is a really deep dive into all the media that's had an effect on me. There's one coming out that's probably gonna upset a lot of people actually, but hey ho, there we are. I love taking pot shots at sacred cows of culture. I just love it. And I think that's it for me at the moment. Guys, thank you so much for coming on and chatting about this. This has been a pleasure. This has been really good.
Hell yeah. Always enjoy it.
Really good.
Nice.
And next time we'll move on to Graham McNeil's False Gods. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Fab. Thank you, guys. That was awesome.
Enjoy.